This is the book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 7. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must need be, but the end shall not be yet. This is Luke 21 and 9, and it reads, But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be ye not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Shalom. First and foremost, I like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Wakak Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. Also, shalom to you Akim out there. And this is another news article of another update of wars or rumors of wars and commotions of wars, as the scripture stated. And this is a news article in reference to those scriptures that I just brought out of my introduction of this quick sit-down lesson through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Elisha. And this news article from RT.com was from August the 14th, 2022. Home world news, alternative news around the world. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads, 3 killed in an Israeli airstrike. Syria says. It says the Israeli plane fired missiles in the suburban area of Damascus. Oh wow, so this is another attack a few days after a similar situation had happened. Now this is a new fresh attacks over there in the Syrian border by the Israeli aggression. And I'm going to read it again for application's sake. It says the Israeli planes fired missiles at the suburban of Damascus, a Tortis region. Syrian media reported citing military. And it says 3 soldiers have been killed and 3 more wounded in an Israeli airstrike on the suburb of Damascus on Sunday. A Syrian military source confirmed that the citing news agency the missiles are said to have been fired at the Damascus area in Tortis from Lebanese territory. It says the country air defense has engaged hostile targets over Tortis, citing reports. On Friday, Israeli tanks wounded 2 civilians near the town of Al-Hamada in the Golden Heights. It says last month, Israeli killed 8 people in an airstrike in the Damascus area, including 5 civilians, and wounding several others. According to the Sinai, the missiles came from the Golden Heights. And it says Israel destroyed more of the international airports in June, forcing the countries to reroute flights to Aleppo, as multiple runways, hangars, and control towers were knocked down. With Israel regularly bombing Syria, it avoids publicly announcing the actions. At the same time, Syrian state media claims that the U.S. has stepped up its smuggling of Syrian oil, transferring 89 tankers of fuel into Iraq on Saturday, just hours after an early 60-tank shipment crossed the border. And it says the Syrian oil minister accused the United States earlier this month of stealing a whopping 83% of Syrian daily oil production, imposing a loss of $105 billion since the beginning of the war. Military convoys has been filmed presumably smuggling Syrian oil into Iraq via legal border crossing. So yeah, you know, as I mentioned before in my previous videos, the proxy wars between the cross-bound, the cross border rivals of organizations in Syria, in the Lebanon border, in Iraq, you know, Yemen, and all many places that's in the Middle East. You having the Israeli aggression, especially near the Golan Heights area. The Israeli aggression, Syrian airstrikes over there, throwing enemy hostile targets. This been for a while now between the both sides and between the cross-border sides of Syria and Lebanon and Israel as well too. As these ongoing situations continuing going on, between both sides, and it's going to furthermore increase, now than ever, with the increase of commotions of wars and rumors of wars increasingly on an everyday basis, and nations rising up against nations, and then that's what you're seeing, cross-border clash conflicts, proxy wars, ongoing conflicts, on and off situations like that, adversaries of different nations increasingly against one another, different kingdoms rising up against one another, and that's what we're constantly, consistently seeing on an everyday basis, and it's going to further even more and more, So with that, I hope this quick sit-down lesson was edifying for In the News on this August the 14th, 2022 at 6:41 p.m. Central Standard Time on a Sunday afternoon. Through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Barkakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Hakim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Hakim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Hakim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and a ball.